Hello and welcome to Inside the Summit League, our weekly rundown and report of what's going on with the Jackrabbits and the Jaguars and the Mavericks and the Mastodons. And we add the Pioneers this year. Denver joins the Summit League, and a little later on we'll talk with Mitch Hyder, the radio voice of the University of Denver, get a mile-high view of what Denver is going to bring to the Summit League this year. The soccer and volleyball seasons are already underway, and we will hear from some of the league coaches on what to look for in those sports. And as we take a quick peek back at last year, there were so many outstanding individual performances in the Summit League. Amy Anderson in golf at North Dakota State, Nate Walters at South Dakota State in basketball, and now with the Milwaukee Bucks. And then there was track and field star Alexa Duling, an incredible student athlete who not only qualified for the Olympic trials, but maintained a 4.0 grade point average at the same time. Here is more on what Duling did in the NCAA's on-campus series.
You know, having gotten A's throughout my entire high school experience, I wanted to continue that into college. It's funny that once you just kind of get a feel for it and you figure out what you like to learn about, it makes getting A's so much easier. I love to set goals, but I think really at the heart of it all, I love to compete. And not only do I like to compete with other people, but I especially just like to compete with myself. When I came into undergrad, I took a variety of classes right off the bat so I could figure out what I really love to learn about. And I found myself always coming back to biology. And honestly, there were so many times where I would rather be in the library studying on a Friday night in my biology notes rather than going out with friends.
She's one of those students who would sit near the front of the class and you could always tell that she was focused on what you were saying, on what she was learning, and she was excited by everything.
Alexa grew up on a ranch in South Dakota and worked diligently in high school to build a resume in her classroom and on the track that would allow her to attend any school in the nation and provide her some new experiences. She was accepted at several top-tier universities, but the Coyotes were calling.
Growing up in South Dakota, I was like, you know, this place isn't that diverse, not that cultural, really not that inspiring, and I desire some sort of sophisticated school where I can learn about so many different things. And then I received a couple great scholarships from the University of South Dakota, and it completely changed everything. And right away when I got on campus, I realized that, you know, the lack of culture, the lack of diversity, no, like that was, you know, South Dakota had everything.
Alexa's track and field success came in the hurdles, where she won multiple conference championships and earned All-America honors. She also qualified for the U.S. Olympic trials. But that success did not come easily.
My freshman year of high school, my coach said, hey, let's try the hurdles. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot. Anyways, during my first race, I fell over the last hurdle. Traumatic event for a high schooler, and decided that I wasn't gonna ever hurdle again. Well, you know, I get to my junior year and we still don't have any girls out for the team, so we tried hurdling again, and next thing you know, I'm state champion in it. So it was funny how it all worked out, and now I love hurdling so much more than, you know, straight running. And I'm so happy to be a hurdler.
She's very much a student of the sport. She wants to know why we're doing things, how we're doing things, and that's what makes her fun to coach. We knew she was good, she's very talented, but her work ethic and her attention to detail is really what's made her a great track athlete.
I trained with her because I ran 400s, and every time I would, you know, get tired or I wouldn't want to do something, she would take me back and say, you know, let's look at your goals. What do you want to accomplish and how are we going to get there? She's always there to build everybody up.
Alexa's a great leader. She really doesn't even try to be a leader. I think that's the best part about Alexa. Just if you're around Alexa, you can definitely just tell by the way that she acts that you want to be like Alexa.
The things that you learn from running, and really from any sport, relate to everything you do in everyday life. The discipline you learn, the teamwork, the confidence that you gain from the sport are truly things that relate to everything.
Alexa spent time on a Native American reservation, job shadowing some physicians, and the experience affected her deeply.
Watching them interact with the Native American people and deliver culturally competent care was truly special to me and truly meaningful, because it showed that the physician not only cared about treating them in the Western medicine perspective, but also treating them so that their culture could be taken into it and woven into their medical treatment as well. And seeing the integration of that was really beautiful. I spoke to a little girl in the hospital waiting room, and I asked her, you know, how's your summer going? What have you been up to? And she just told me how bored she was and how she never had anything to do. And I have a serious problem with the word bored. And so I wanted to show the children on the reservation that, you know, you don't need to be bored. There's things out there to do. And so I knew Girls on the Run would be a great program for that.
Girls on the Run is a nationally organized program that is about girls understanding health and self-esteem and confidence and being strong as young girls. And so the women's track team were the mentors for the elementary school girls and Girls on the Run here.
She knew about the Girls on the Run program and decided to try to bring it to the reservation. People told her, oh, it can't be done, the logistics, it would be too difficult. And when Alexa's confronted by an obstacle, she finds a way to go through it, to go around it, to go any which way to get to the other side, and she does it with a smile.
I worked for about a year trying to get this program started on the reservation and continually advocated for the girls out there, and I finally received permission to start the first summer program of Girls on the Run in the nation, and I think, let alone it was the first one ever done on an Indian reservation. So it was such a cool experience to go out to the reservation and do this running program with the little girls. I absolutely think it's important to be a role model, but I never think of myself as doing that. You know, I just act how I would naturally. And I think that's the most important thing, is to just be who you are, and that's what really inspires people.
Well, who will be the Dulings and the Walters and the Andersons in the Summit League this year? We will find out over the next 9 months, and we will find out right away what's going on in volleyball. A look at the league, including an expansion of the postseason tournament in volleyball, when we come back. Inside the Summit League is brought to you by Sanford Health, Grand Falls Casino, and Dakota Land Honda. Well, Summit League Volleyball has started. Great fun to watch. You should go check it out on your local Summit League campus. IUPUI won the regular season last year. Fort Wayne won the postseason tournament, and the league's head coaches think that those two are going to be at the top again this year. IUPUI and Fort Wayne are picked as co-favorites to win this year's regular season title. Fort Wayne returns Emily Spencer. She was last year's Summit League Player of the Year. IUPUI brings back last year's Freshman of the Year, Caitlin Hickey, and first-team All-Summit League hitter Mariah Fair. The University of South Dakota is picked 4th in the league, and the Coyotes might surprise some people. Well, maybe not surprise exactly, because they have almost all of last year's team coming back.
The confidence from the spring we're seeing in the gym already. You know, again, having 11 returning players in the gym from what we went through at the end of last season and in the spring definitely helps the vibe in the gym. You know, they feel good, they feel confident.
Usually we go home for the summer, we kind of lose what we've built on, and like now you can just tell that everyone has really stayed at where they were. So like everyone's just continuing to get better.
Well, everybody's gunning for the postseason. Last year, 4 volleyball teams qualified. This year, that's going to change to 6 qualifiers.
So now it's 6 out of 8 versus 4 out of 10, and so certainly we have a good chance of going. But you know, we can't just take that for granted that we're just going to make it. You know, just because we've been in the top 6 for the past few years, we've got to make sure that we still take every step that we can and win the matches at home we're supposed to win, and sneak out a couple on the road that maybe on paper we're not supposed to, and then if we do that, we'll be just fine.
And IUPUI will host this year's volleyball postseason tournament. Women's soccer is up next. Question is, will Denver dominate? Inside the Summit League is brought to you by Sanford Health, Grand Falls Casino, and Dakota Land Honda. Well, the University of Denver is good in hockey, they're good in skiing, and they were really good in women's soccer last year. The Pioneers won 2 games in the NCAA tournament. One of those was against Colorado College, and those 2 teams hooked up in another great match just this past Friday in Denver. Well, this match was part of the 3rd annual Colorado Cup, with the University of Denver, University of Colorado, Colorado College, and Northern Colorado all playing each other. Denver and Colorado College in this one, and that is Colorado College scoring first. Sarah Schweiss getting that past Denver freshman goalie Cassidy Ray. 1-0 Colorado, but Denver evens it up 12 minutes later. Kristen Hamilton taken down and fouled in the box. Nicolette DiGiacomo takes the penalty kick and parks it in the net. Match tied 1-1, goes to overtime, and Francesca Garzaloni gets the game winner on a ball that goes post to post and then in. Denver with the 2-1 win in overtime.
Great way to start. I think you know, it really doesn't matter how the wins come, if it's an overtime regulation or whatever, and you know, those overtime wins, they'll build some character. We don't mind playing the extra time as long as we get the victory.
Well, Denver's first Summit League match will be at Fort Wayne on October 5th. South Dakota State, meanwhile, might sneak up on some teams this year. The Jacks are picked to finish 5th. They played well at the end of last year, but now they need to turn that good effort into actual wins this year.
Although we were disappointed in the wins and loss category, we actually played fairly well considering the amount of new starters we had, the freshmen that were having to step up maybe too early in their careers. And if you look at the stat sheets against a lot of the teams, we played very well and outplayed them. The maturity was an issue. We just didn't have the players to know how to win those tight games. And so I think that experience that they gained from last year, although the growing pains were hard to go through, should pay dividends for us.
Well, the Jackrabbits took on Iowa State in an exhibition match in Brookings. Nicole Inskeep is the SDSU keeper, a freshman from Ankeny, Iowa, and making her first collegiate start. Played well. Jacks down 1-0 at the half, but they tie it in the second half right away. Alyssa Brazel with the corner kick. Danny Patterson gets the goal, and the Jacks tie it at 1-1. Inskeep kept making saves, but Iowa State got a goal in the 87th minute, and they beat the Jackrabbits 2-1. The day after they played in Brookings, Iowa State headed down to Vermilion to take on South Dakota in an exhibition match. Cyclones strike first there, 1-0 Iowa State at the half, but just underway in the second half. Coyotes tie it up. Danielle Anderson, a sophomore, taken down and fouled in the Iowa State half of the field. Free kick for Anderson, and the Coyotes punch it in, tie it at 1-1. Coyotes later in the match, though, trying to cross it in front of their own goal. Jennifer Dominguez takes advantage for Iowa State, and 3-1 is the final. Iowa State in that one. North Dakota State has opened the season with a win and a loss. They beat Belmont and then dropped this tough 1-0 match at Minnesota on Sunday. The Gophers had 17 shots on goal to NDSU's 2. Anisha Kitterath had the lone goal for NDSU, but the Gophers win it 4-1. NDSU goes to New York this weekend.
And we come out every game to win, but right now we're going to go to New York. We know we're playing two very good teams, two teams as good as Minnesota, and so we're going to have to step up our game. You know, we're going to have to learn to defend better, and it's a learning process for us.
Well, we switch to men's soccer next. Guess who's the favorite to win the league? Inside the Summit League is brought to you by Sanford Health, Grand Falls Casino, and Dakota Land Honda. Denver's the pick to win the Summit League in women's soccer. They're the pick to win in men's soccer as well. But Western Illinois is the defending champ, and the Leathernecks are not ready to give up the title just yet. Western Illinois won its way to the NCAA tournament last year and dropped a 1-0 decision to Northwestern in the first round of the College Cup. Despite losing leading scorer Nathan Bruinsma to graduation, the Leathernecks feel like they still have a real shot at a repeat as Summit League champions.
As always, we're always going to look for a winning record. Definitely try to make it to the tournament, the Summit League tournament, of course, and then win that.
Well, it's just another year, fresh start. That's why I love it. You know, you take a group and it's over 1 year and you say goodbye to a few guys and then you get some new guys and everything starts over fresh. So you get that clean slate. So that's really exciting because these guys need to put their names on this season.
Another team to watch, or at least one that's going to be fun to watch, is Omaha. The Mavericks are in their second season in the Summit League, still not eligible for the postseason, but they look forward to let it loose this season, as well as build for the future.
We want to have a brand of soccer that's entertaining. You know, as much as I want to win games, I think we need to develop players and we need to be entertaining. We can't go to the conference tournament this year. We can't go to the NCAA tournament. We can't go to the Final Four next year. So for us, it's important to develop a style and develop a culture where people come here and they realize what they're going to see when they watch the UNO men's team play, what they're going to get out of it, get to know the guys. That's what we want to do.
Well, Omaha and Western Illinois have already played a couple of exhibition matches. Omaha taking on Penn State here. Played at Omaha South High School. Logan Mendez with the blast there, but it's snared by the Penn State keeper. 13th minute, first shot on goal for Penn State from the corner, volleyed around, and that would be Penn State's only goal in the match. Matt Grosey of Omaha stopped everything else after that. 3 saves for the senior from California. And in the second half, a little bit of controversy here. 55th minute. Is that a goal or not? Omaha's Craig Bittner ripped it from straight away. And did it go in is the question. The referee said no goal, but look again. It goes in, but it hits that support bar on the inside of the goal and shoots back out. There is no replay during the match or after the match, so they ruled it no goal. And Penn State goes on to win this exhibition against Omaha by the tally of 1-0. It was the same 1-0 story for Western Illinois taking on DePaul out of the Big East Conference. And Donald Tickner is the Western Illinois keeper in this one. He's a freshman from Waterloo, Iowa. Tickner made one save and allowed one goal in the match. And the goal came on a deflection off the corner kick here in the 13th minute. Leathernecks coach Dr. Eric Johnson said his team was just a little unorganized and made a mistake. But overall, his young kids played very well in this one. So it was 1-0 DePaul. The Demons D made it stand up. Western Illinois limited to just 4 shots in the contest, and DePaul wins it 1-0. Well, when we come back, a chat with University of Denver radio guy Mitch Hyder. Some reaction from the Rockies on Denver joining the Summit League. Inside the Summit League is brought to you by Sanford Health, Grand Falls Casino, and Dakota Land Honda. Well, the Summit League welcomes the University of Denver this year. And the Pioneers are going to bring some very good programs into the mix. The women's soccer team won 2 games in the NCAA tournament last year. The men's basketball team is certainly going to be one of the challengers for the Summit League title when we get to that point. Mitch Hyder is the radio voice of the University of Denver, and he joins us to get a little mile-high view of what Denver is going to bring to the league this year. And Mitch, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And let's start with this. Where has the University of Denver been athletically over the last 3 or 4 years? Can you take us through that?
It has been an interesting 3 or 4 years here at the University of Denver. You go back a couple of years ago, it was our last year in the Sun Belt Conference, where we spent 14 years officially, 15 with that provisional season. Then, of course, last year Denver was in the WAC and really made a lot of headway in terms of success athletically in that league. And, of course, that league has changed its profile pretty dramatically over the last 18 months or so, and really not a place Denver could stay. And I think everybody here is very pleased that they were fortunate to find a league as good as the Summit League, no question.
All right, and I think you just answered a lot of this, but your personal thoughts and maybe just some thoughts in general from campus there on Denver joining the Summit League.
You know, when you're in 3 leagues in 3 years, I mean, there's obviously some frustration. I don't think there's any secret to that. But I think the idea is, and of course the landscape in college athletics is so crazy right now, you need to get somewhere where you fit. And I think, you know, people hear the Summit League and they go, well, maybe that's not as high profile as the WAC, or maybe even the Sun Belt for those who live in the Sun Belt area, which we don't, which made it kind of interesting. But I think the bottom line is, when you look at what happens and when it all shakes out and Denver winds up in the Summit League, that's okay, because for years all Denver people have talked about is we need a geographic fit. And you talk about geographic fit, you know, the Dakotas are right there. You know, the idea of taking a direct flight to an away game is such a great idea for the University of Denver. I mean, when you're going to Miami to play FAU and FIU, and the WAC was certainly better, but I think the Summit League travel-wise may be even better. There are so many direct flights from DIA that I think once we get into league play, I think coaches and athletes alike are going to go, man, this is a whole lot less taxing on us before we even play a game.
Well, and it's going to work the other way around pretty nicely as well, where teams from North Dakota, South Dakota, and everywhere else can fly into Denver and play there. It's going to be a nice fit as well the other way around.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. And I think people, again, I think, you know, the Summit went through a name change a few years ago. And, I mean, I think that people don't have a great perception in the Denver market yet of what the Summit League is, who's in there, who the opponents are going to be, who the rivalries may develop into. But I think once we get into play, people are going to realize, you know, we're kind of playing our neighbors for the first time maybe ever, other than maybe a stretch last year in the WAC.
All right, and talk a little bit about the Summit League sports, not necessarily basketball yet, but the ones going on right now, the fall sports, volleyball, and soccer. Where do you think Denver is going to excel this year in the Summit League?
You know, I think it's interesting because whenever you jump into a new league, no matter what the prognosticators think, I don't think you're ever really sure what to expect because you just don't know. But when you look at the fall sports, I see men's and women's soccer are the preseason favorites to win the Summit League title. I mean, that's a pretty lofty expectation for a new team in a new league. But, I mean, they played in the WAC, and the WAC was pretty good in terms of soccer. And, of course, the men played in the MPSF prior to this year, but another very good league with the likes of New Mexico and San Jose State and some very big names in terms of collegiate soccer. And, again, our women's soccer program has been established for 2 decades under 22nd-year coach Jeff Hooker. Bobby Muse, the men's coach, has been here 7 years. Both of those guys have done a really good job. They know what they want to do. They have a plan. So they're kind of a tough out. They're tough to play really anywhere at any time, and we'll see how the competition stacks up both ways, I think, in the Summit League. And then volleyball, Jesse Mahoney is in his 2nd year here, and he took over a program. I was going to say that he needed to rebuild. Well, he really needed to just build because it never did a lot, to be quite honest with you. But this guy was the #1 recruiter at Colorado State, and we all know what a program they put together. They're nationally perennial top 20 each and every year. He was the main guy that recruited up there, and he is a tremendously hard worker, and he's kind of changing the mindset around here. We've always had some great kids, great student athletes that played hard, but we really didn't have any great blue-collar volleyball players, and you can tell his approach is a whole lot different than the previous coach. He likes grinders. He likes people that really get after it and work hard, not afraid to get dirty and bruise knees and things like that. So this will be his first recruiting class in his 2nd year. So he's going to put his stamp on this program. That one's kind of a work in progress, but I think the work's going to get done pretty quickly.
All right, thanks, and welcome again to the University of Denver, and Mitch and Nicole and everybody in the office there at the University of Denver. Thanks to all of our member schools. Looking forward to a great season in the Summit League. We'll see you next week.